This is a demonstration of problem 936B, determining asset cost and recording partial year depreciation. Safe parking near an airport incurred the following costs: to acquire land, make land improvements, and construct and furnish a small building. Requirements 1 says to set up columns for land, land improvements, building, and furniture, and show how to account for each cost by listing the cost under the correct account, and then determine the total cost for each asset. So the problem has given us several costs involved with the purchase of the land and construction of the building and furniture, and now we're going to go through with each one of these costs and determine which of these assets the costs belong to. So first we have the purchase price. So the purchase price will go into the land account. We will also put in there the real estate taxes that were due, the earth moving and dirt that we had to have in order to get the land ready to build on, and then the title insurance. All of those costs are part of getting the land, purchasing it, and getting it ready to use. The next cost is for a fence. Now, a fence will be attached to the land, but fences deteriorate. So those are going to be considered to be land improvements, and we're going to depreciate those over their useful life. A building permit is a cost that we have to incur in order to build our building. So that's going to go under building, as well as the architect's fees that we paid to design the building. Any signs that we purchase for the property would be considered to be land improvements. Those deteriorate. We would want to depreciate those. When we start buying our building materials, those are going to go under our building, as well as the labor cost to build that building, and also the interest on the construction loan when we're borrowing the money until the building is actually completed. The parking lots are actually considered to be land improvements. Parking lots deteriorate, they require maintenance, so those are going to be under land improvements. The same for the lights, $11,600. Those would be considered to be land improvements. The salary of the construction supervisor, it states, to split between land improvements and buildings. 20% of the salary, they said, to place under land improvements. So $16,000 would be land improvements, and then the balance of $64,000 would be part of the cost of the building. Then we purchase furniture. So furniture costs would go under furniture, as well as that transportation cost to get the furniture delivered. Next, it says that we had additional fencing. Fencing, again, is going to be a land improvement, so we're going to depreciate that. As I have been placing these costs under these columns, it's been totaling the cost at the bottom as the problem asked us to do. We know that land is never depreciated, so those costs we do not have to calculate depreciation on, but the land improvements, the building, and the furniture will need to be depreciated. The second part of the problem says that all of the construction was completed and the assets were placed in service on September 1st, and it asks us to record partial year depreciation for the year ended 12/31. So in this part, we're going to first calculate what the depreciation expense would be for that partial year. It states that Safe Parking depreciates their land improvements over 15 years, their buildings over 40 years, and their furniture over 10 years. So as I have the spreadsheet set up to calculate the partial year depreciation, it brought the total down from the first part of the problem. We're then going to divide that total cost by the useful life that the problem gave us, and then we're going to multiply that by 1/3 because the furniture and building and land improvements were not put into service until September 1st. The problems did not stated that the assets do not have any residual value, so I have not subtracted any residual value when I made these calculations. So now we're ready to record the depreciation expense for these assets. So our land improvements, we would debit depreciation expense, land improvements for 1833, and we would credit accumulated depreciation land improvements for the same amount. We would also debit depreciation expense building for 4029 and credit accumulated depreciation building for the same amount. And our last entry would be for the furniture. We would debit depreciation expense furniture for $453 and we would credit accumulated depreciation furniture for $453. And that is the conclusion of the demonstration for problem 936B.